All right, let's let everybody in. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. Thanks for jumping on the call. Hey, Mary, how you doing?
Good, Andy. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
You too.
Hi, Mary.
Hey.
I don't
All
think we've met yet. Where are you
right.
located?
In South Carolina and previously Massachusetts. Your name just came up the other day, though. Tracy Moy is on my team, and she was
Tracy
mentioning you.
Moy. Okay.
She's inside staff, but I feel like she mentioned your name, and I'm like, I'm not sure I know him.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Cool. Good to
Thanks
see
for being
everybody
on
jumping
here.
on. Before you guys got here, Trey and I were talking a little bit about summer plans. We started talking about family reunions. So while everybody's logging in chat, why don't you throw down anybody have a big summer event coming up? Somebody going to the beach, somebody going to the mountains. Anybody got some fun things coming up? Or do you do broad family reunions like cousins and everybody across the board, big get-togethers, not just immediate family? Throw it in chat what you're doing.
Hi, I'm Kevin today.
Hey, Kevin, today.
Nice shirt, Kevin.
Hey,
Debbie,
great minds think alike.
that's the best Kevin's looked yet on one of these calls.
I figured it'd be easier for me to come in as him and instead of a participant, Annie, if you
Appreciate
needed
it.
me.
All right. I just set you up as co-host too. So you're all
Okay.
set there. All right. Cool. Well, it is great to see everybody. So excited to have so many people on the call with us today. I know we've got a lot more folks joining us. We have a special guest on our spotlight call today. Our special guest is Trey Delgreco. Trey and I have been working together for a little while and had an opportunity to kind of get to know Trey. He's going to share with us some great secrets about what he's doing and more and about how he's doing things. So let me just introduce Trey really quick to everybody. For those of you that haven't met, Trey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you're at and what you're doing with movement?
Yeah, so I'm in Orlando. I've been with the company since 2017. So we're coming up on 8 years, I guess. Started as a junior loan officer, turned into a loan officer, kind of grew the business up to President's Club, and now I serve as the market leader here. So I've been blessed to sit in a bunch of different seats here, and every day I'm still just in awe about what movement is doing, not just outside of Orlando, but what they do for our team, and it's just really cool. I always say it's easy, they make it easy for us to fly the flag and drink the Kool-Aid. So I love telling our story, I love talking about it and bragging on movement, and yeah, I've gotten to see it from a lot of different seats, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love I love your story too about how you kind of came in and started and you've advanced and grown into the new position that you have. And so you've been able to see the market from a lot of different angles, haven't you?
I have, and I was fortunate. My sister-in-law is Jen Miklos. Most of you guys know her, or have seen her name high up on a leaderboard at some point. But when I first got in the business, I literally sat 6 feet away from her and just listened to her talk to people, and that's how I learned. So she's always been my mentor. It was kind of cool making the jump from her junior to her peer. She was always my branch leader, and now I'm her market leader. But it's very clear who's still the boss in our relationship. So we have a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, how big's the market that you're working in right now?
So we've got 17 loan officers, probably 6 or 7 support staff, and we're all Central Florida. So think there's a market in Tampa, and then anything east of Tampa is all us.
Okay. Terrific. Good. And so one of the things that you've done that has helped you kind of as you've grown your career and the things you're doing, especially when you were doing your originating, just out of curiosity too, what was your volume last year? Just so people have an idea of kind of where you were.
Well, last year I stepped into this market leader role and was a producing market leader. So I was doing both. But I finished last year, I think, at 14 million. Um, in my heyday, I was at 26, 27 million. But obviously stepping into this position, I knew that was going to go down a little bit. Normally I'm in that 20 to 27 million range.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for that. And I know it's important that everybody hears too, just the different volume that he was at, even when he was at the 14 million, because I know that can be a little more relatable for some folks as you're looking at it. These practices that Trey is going to share and talk about, were instrumental in helping him get through all those different stages as he was growing and to where he was going. So thanks for sharing that, Trey. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely.
When you were in your producing time, as an LO, because I know right now we're transitioning into just straight market leader role and kind of transitioning out of production. Why did you find more so effective in what you were doing?
So when I first joined Jen's team, she was always using an Excel spreadsheet. So that's naturally what I started using. But I was constantly getting calls from agents. I'd have to go scroll down the 5 pages to get to that buyer from 3 weeks ago, realize I hadn't called them in 3 weeks. And there was just so many cracks and holes that people would fall through. So I was always searching for a CRM to help keep those people top of mind. I then leaned into Total Expert. Total Expert sucked, if we want to be honest, and it was way better than an Excel spreadsheet. I did actually adopt Move Home for a little while as well. I was on the pilot team to build that out. Move Home was better than Total Expert, but still sucked. And then transitioned back to Total Expert. And then now I've been doing more for about 2 years. So I think the one constant is just the understanding that any CRM is better than no CRM. Once my business was dedicated and committed to using that CRM on a daily basis, my production went north. And I think it was just because of the organizational aspect of it.
Yeah, so I love that, right? Any CRM, any system is better than no system whatsoever, even if it is Total Expert and maybe not living up to the name that it's got.
Let me rephrase. Any technology system is better than no system, because some would say like my notepad is my system. It's not going to remind you. It's not going to pop back up with notifications. It's just it's never going to serve you the way that a technology CRM is going to. So just want to clarify that point.
Yeah, I love that, right? Because that is one of the biggest things. It's the automation, right? It's the set it and forget it way that you can do it. Because I know that for me, when I've been in my selling prior to using CRMs, notebooks, and it's functional for a little while, but then you start to lose data because you just kind of go past it, you forget, and next thing you know, you're down the road and you're reminding yourself, oh my gosh, you haven't spoken to this person in forever.
Well, they still have to be top of mind. You have to remember to go look for their information. And I'm not one that remembers every name and every file. And like, I'm terrible with that stuff. Jen's amazing. She, like, you mention a name, she's like, oh yeah, they bought on 123 Main Street, 5 years ago. And I've never had that superpower. So the CRM was a game changer for me.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. And in your estimation, that's one of the things that really kind of propelled you from where you were to where you've gotten to, right?
Yeah, there's no arguing that. I would have continued to be a revolving door with my agents just because I was missing stuff and not serving them the way. And I would have continued to miss out on opportunities. And you can't grow your business if you're missing opportunities. You just can't. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's such a key thing to remember, right? Because if you're out there working it, you've got a ton of opportunities, both from new stuff coming in as well as from the existing database that we had. I just heard a statistic the other day that said right now, refi applications are 40% of all mortgage loan applications, right? 40% of all loan applications are refis. That's important. And it's your database and being able to navigate the database that will really help you be explosive in that area. Is that something that you've been able to use it for as well, just maintaining and working with databases you've gone through?
Yeah, so that was something I was very intentional about in 21, 22 when we were in that refi boom. I was always hyper aware that I didn't want to be a refi loan officer. I wasn't going to miss out on those opportunities, but I knew that my identity was a purchase loan officer. So I wanted to make sure I protected all those relationships. So I even had my CRM, which we'll get into this later, but it wasn't just about the leads. It was about reminding me to call my referral partners as well. Because you know how easy it is. You look up and it's been 2 months. You haven't gotten any leads from this realtor. You haven't spoken to them and you've lost them at that point. So just making sure I was continually touching those partners and staying in front of people was just as important as dealing with all the fire hose of leads coming in.
Yeah, I love that, right? So working both ends of the spectrum, making sure you're talking to referral partners as well as your database.
Absolutely.
So you've got kind of, as we've talked about, you've got 5 really key things that you like to do on a daily, weekly basis inside of More, and they've become kind of your 5 non-negotiables, if you will, in the activities and actions that you need to take.
They're my 5, but they're also, well, they're not all my 5. They're the 5 you need to do to start with, right? And I've sort of limited my more usability to pretty much those five, which I'll get into here in a little bit. But if you're wondering where to start, these are the five things that you have to nail first. I think the whole system is intimidating. It's scary. It's a lot. But yeah, I mean, I can just jump into it if you want, or
Yeah, no, please, let's jump into it.
all right. So the first thing that kind of makes sense in my mind is we have to understand what more is and what it is not. So I think a lot of questions that pop up is, or at least was early on, is more ready for me to use it yet? And in the one answer, yes, absolutely. Like more can do whatever you want it to do, but it's not going to do it until you get in and start using it. So the other side of the coin is no, more will never be ready until you start using it. A good analogy for this is you think about the iPhone, right? Do you have an iPhone, Andy? All right. So you go buy, let's say you've had an iPhone for 10 years, you go buy the new iPhone 16. What do? You open it out of the box, you hold it next to your phone, it does some cloud magic thing, and bam, your new iPhone is exactly the same as your old one, right?
Right.
What about the first iPhone you ever got? There was no cloud magic.
Switch from an Android. Yeah, there was nothing.
So you had to learn how to use it. You had to get your settings all dialed in. I remember I couldn't even, it took me a while to figure out how to even make a phone call when I first got an iPhone. I didn't know you had to click on the number. But it required some user error, some experience. I had to get my hands on it and start using it. And then fast forward to today, the iPhone is probably one of the biggest game-changing pieces of technology of our lifetime. The fact that we had to learn how to use it doesn't negate that fact. It is still an absolute game changer, right? So I think more is very similar to that, where it's not going to be something that we just open it right out of the box and it's ready to go. Like you have to jump in, you have to start using it if you want it to work for you. You know, the other thing that the intimidation piece is, you look at the Jared Plonskys and the Chris Coghills, their versions of more are not my version of more. So I think a lot of times we see what all they're doing and it's so amazing. And it's very scary because it's a lot of work. I mean, they've spent 2 years building these systems out, and these are the best of the best systems, right? It's not an all or nothing thing. Like you don't have to be Jared Plonsky or nothing. You know, if you think about it in terms of mortgage business, that's like getting into the mortgage business your first year and saying, well, if I don't have Adam Delmonico's pipeline, I might as well not even be in the mortgage business. Like that's ridiculous. None of us would look at it that way. And more can't be that way either. So mine is like a very simple, dumbed down version of what those two geniuses are doing. Case in point, has anybody seen Jared Plonsky's pre-approval letter that he uses? You can just raise your hands or put it in the chat or whatever. It is not what I would ever send to any of my clients, but it works for him. And so the point of this is his process is totally different than my process. Okay. If we go back to the iPhone example for a minute, when I get that new iPhone, I'm not going to do cloud magic with Jared's phone. That wouldn't help me. All the settings are different. I wouldn't know how to use it. So you have to get your hands into it. You have to start small and build on it from there.
Yeah, I love that. Right. I mean, that's the key to just about anything, is start small and build on it from there. So yeah. I love that. Yeah.
So there's a loan officer that used to be at Movement. His name is Steve Kyle. He's got a podcast. It's probably one of the more reputable mortgage podcasts, but he starts and ends every podcast with, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. And that's exactly the sentiment that I want to encourage you guys with in this. Like, you got to just start. You're going to feel like you suck at it at first, and that's okay. But you got to start somewhere, and before long, it'll be a pretty badass system that really fuels your business. So how do we get started? The first thing is you got to know how to get your people into more. So if you're new to Movement or you're new to the mortgage industry, there's a really cool Excel spreadsheet where you got to put all the names and the phone numbers and the emails in the right columns. Take the time to do that Excel spreadsheet correctly. You know, it's kind of like taking a 1003, you put garbage in, you get garbage out. This spreadsheet's the same way. If you try to cheat that system, all the information is going to be jumbled in more, and you're not going to be able to find it, organize it, use it. So like that step is very important. If you've been here at Movement a while, great news for you. All of your people are already in more for you. It's pulling from PCL, it's pulling from Blend, it's pulling from wherever. So those past people, that's how you get the past people in. getting started using it on a daily basis, though, you have to build this rhythm or this muscle of when a new lead comes in, I add the lead to more. I then call the lead, I do my discovery call, I log that call, I take notes, I set a follow-up task. So if you can just start with that one rhythm, you need to know how to log a call, how to add a lead, and how to create a task. Okay, those are like the three most basic things you can do and more. You can do that today, right now. You can go take an old lead that's already in there and add a task or log a call on there, but you have to build that specific rhythm and make it a habit. The second thing, once you've built that habit, you'll see there's a little window called a to-do list, and you can go in there every day, click on my daily to-do list, and there will be 7 people for me to call, 4 people for me to text. I don't know, maybe a credit repair or something to follow up on. But I've built it out to this system now where every day I go in there and I know what my top 10 lead generating activities are, right? Some days it's 15, some days it's 5, some days it's 30. Doesn't matter. Every day I go in, that's where I start. I knock out those tasks. Now I don't have to worry anymore about who should I call today. I don't have to go look at a report, try to figure out who I haven't talked to in a while, and then go figure it out myself. I just do what the system tells me to do. And the freedom in that, you guys, is life-changing. Like, I don't worry about any of that stuff anymore. But without that rhythm, that to-do list doesn't exist. So you have to use it in order to get what you want out of it. So you've got those things. And then, I mean, really, if you just stop there and do that for the next 2 months, 3 months, that will be a game changer for you. Like that will make your life a lot easier. Once you get comfortable with that, then you can start building out more specific task plans. That's what we call cadences in more. So instead of creating one task, maybe that task is, call Andy next Wednesday. I can create a list of 5 tasks or 10 tasks or 15 tasks. And those are good. I'm going to run through those tasks in sequence. So let's say, Andy, you're a new lead that comes in. I want to call you and email you on day 1. I want to text you on day 2. I want to call you again on day 3. I can just add you to a cadence and all of those tasks will pop up in my daily to-do list. So
I love it.
It's like a more elaborate version of creating tasks. So that's something that you would want to build. Start with the one-off task and then build to the cadences. Once you figure out what that flow and that cadence looks like, then you can start adding some automation to it. Maybe you want to automate an email to go out or a text message or whatever. But you can kind of start building on those tasks from there. The other 2 things that I think you need to know how to do right out of the gate is the annual mortgage reviews. So there's a setting in there where I have it automatically emailing all of my past clients on their anniversary with that annual mortgage review survey. If they don't fill it out, I get a task that says, hey, we sent the AMR survey, they didn't respond, give them a call. If they do answer it, I get a task that says, hey, they completed their survey, go take a look at what they said and give them a call. That is the aspect that I was missing before. I never called past clients before. It was terrible. And I lost so much business just because I hadn't spoken to a client in 3 years. But the system reminds me of these people that pop into my head from 5 years ago. And most of the time, the AMR calls are kind of fun. Like, they've had more kids since then. I've had more kids since then. Maybe they've been through cancer or a car accident or something. And it's really fun to catch up with those people. So knowing how to use the system to complete AMRs is one. And then finally, the proactive opportunity dashboard. There is so much business sitting in there waiting for you to call them. If you don't ever call them, they might call you, they might not. They might not even know there's an opportunity there. It's our job to go serve them and tell them, hey, you could have your MI removed. You're eligible for a rate reduction right now. But you have to know how to go in and look at that proactive opportunity dashboard and know what you're looking at.
I love it. So I was working with a client actually this morning. We were talking about setting up AMRs inside of More, and I just uploaded a document. I found a job aid that was inside of the More platform. Imagine that. All the training materials you need are right there. So I found a job aid. I just put that into the chat for everybody. If you're looking to make sure that you're set up on the automations like Trey just talked about, it's a very simple how to walk through, how to do it. And then once you've done it, where to see the results once a survey comes back in. So everybody's got that now, because Trey, to what you're talking about, right? I mean, you talked about getting the basics done, and then making sure that we navigate into those tasks, right? And I think there's a big habit that we've all got to be very intentional about forming, that part of our daily routine is to look at that task list, right? You treat it just like when you had a handwritten to-do list, our task list then becomes that to-do list, right?
Mhm.
So we got to look at it that way, and then create any automations we can, right? Using the AMR is a brilliant way to do it because it's a simple touch point on that. So I just want to make sure that we highlighted that and talked a little more about that. Those two things are super important in among the other things.
But think, Andy, so like, let's just keep it in terms of a to-do list. If you're handwriting a to-do list, somebody has to write that item on that piece of paper, right? What if you could hire an assistant that would just tell you, hey, these are your tasks for today. I need you to call these 5 people. I need you to text these 5 people. Most of us would see that as very helpful. That is exactly what More does. It's basically an assistant to organize who you need to be talking to and what you need to be doing on that day. Which I can expand a little more on the cadences and stuff. We can go as deep or as superficial as you want to in this. But that's the really cool thing about this with the cadences and the automation. Most of my cadences are manual. Okay. So like, it'll tell me to call somebody. I have to go in and physically call them or text them. That's the way I prefer it. You can set it up to automate those texts or emails. So like credit repair people, for example, if somebody's like a 12 months out, they've got a 480 credit score, I've sent them their plan, but it's going to be more than a year. I don't waste my time on those people. I set them on my automated cadence. Every 2 months, they get an email from me. It's a very personalized, simple email. Hey, how's the credit repair going? Do you have any questions? Anything I can help you with? But I'm constantly touching on those people. And I've had several reach back out to me. They respond to those emails. Yeah, it's going well. Thanks for checking. And then it turns into a deal a year down the road that I would have never closed if I had just forgotten about them.
Yeah, I love that, right? Because now you've got, so our challenge is timing. It's not necessarily the person that we're dealing with or working towards. And if somebody's got a longer term ramping, like you're talking about, taking 12 months to do that credit repair, boy, what a brilliant way to set up just a cadence so that it automates it. The system does the outreach for you, so you know it's getting done, but you don't have to do it. Did
Mhm.
you have to set that cadence up yourself, or was that one of the pre-developed cadences that were out there currently?
I set that one up myself. Like I said, it was super easy. By design, I kept the emails very simple. I wanted it to look like I took the time to hand type that email, even though I didn't. But yeah, it was super easy. You go to the cadence builder, it's 4 steps. First, I had to create the emails for each step, but then I just said, step 1, send this email. Wait 60 days. Step 2, send that email. Wait 60 days. Step 3, send that email. I mean, it's so simple. Jared and Chris have built a lot more elaborate, cadences, and they're pretty amazing. And he will help you set those up. He's offered to do it. I've heard him. Um, but yeah, it doesn't have to be that. Like, it can be the way I use it in its simplest form. Track your calls, track your texts, set task reminders for yourself, and that's it. That alone will change things for you.
And I think, what you just said there is one of the most important things to pay attention to, right? In its simplest form. If you're not actively using more or getting out of it, what Trey's even describing here, because these are from some fairly simple functions that you're getting out of the tool. But it's all you really need to do to be super effective and efficient with it before you go turbocharge into what some of the other things are. Because the thing that's beautiful about Salesforce and about More is it's this massive, robust system. And there's so many opportunities to accelerate what you're doing through it. One of the deficiencies of Salesforce is this massive, robust system, and it's super easy to get lost in it, right? So you've got to be able to break it down to some of these simple tools, which is why we wanted to make sure we shared Trey's message today, because these simple tools are the keys to get going. And like he said, the quote at the beginning, right? Be willing to do it poor, because once you've done it poor, you're going to be able to get better about doing it better from there.
Well, not only that, but when More LOS comes out and Blue Sage is here, like, it is designed to be most efficient when you run it through More. So if you're not comfortable navigating More now, you need to get comfortable before Blue Sage comes out. Otherwise, it's gonna be even more confusing, right? But if you know how to click around, how to navigate the site, how to make it do what you want it to do, I mean, this more LOS is going to be a huge lift anyway, but it will be a much bigger lift if you're comfortable with the system. And I don't mean comfortable to Jared and Chris's level. I mean like to my level, where I'm not a genius, but I know how to work the system and make it work for me in its simplest form. You get to that point, I mean, it's going to be so much easier once more LOS comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Right. Keep it simple and keep doing it. So just restate those 5 things, your 5 kind of best practices, just in bullet point form. So everybody's got them, because I know we talked about a bunch of stuff as we went. Let's just reiterate what those 5 things were. So first one is,
First one, if you're new to movement or new to the business, uploading your database. If you're not new to movement, you've been here a while, it's getting good at adding new leads in. Okay. The second one is building the rhythm or the muscle of logging a call and setting a follow-up task. The third one is knowing where to find your daily tasks. The fourth one is building cadences and maybe making those tasks a little bit more robust. And then the fifth one is the AMR, knowing how to look at the AMRs and automate the AMRs. And then the bonus one was the proactive opportunity dashboard. So 6.
So 5 plus 1, right?
I'll give you that 6th one for free.
I love it. So let me ask you, when you got started doing this, right, just to kind of keep it simple and keep it real for everybody, where did you go to learn, right? I mean, you've gotten to this point because you've experienced it, you've played around, you've done some things. When you started, where did you, when you were looking for a resource to learn, how do I do this or how do I do that? Where was your go-to for it?
So I was fortunate to be on the pilot and the advisory board for more. So I've been in it at the ground level. Honestly, that's how we built the system, though. We started very, very simple in its infancy stage, and then we just built on it and built on it and built on it. I kind of stopped, and Jared and Chris kept going. But I started small and I built on it from there. So now, yes, all of those things are live and active and usable, all those features, but you don't have to use all of them right now. You can do exactly what I did and start with just the simplest ones. The good news is we kind of got all the bugs and the tweaks worked out. We gave feedback on, hey, this is a little clunky. We need to do this different. This needs to show up over here. All that work has been done. Like I said, it's been 2 years in the making on this thing. So you don't even have to fool with that anymore. Like, that part is done for you. All you got to do now is go in and figure out how you want to use it.
Love it. And if somebody is looking for the basics on just where to get started, inside of More, there's a drop down for all the training content and videos. They're all give or take 25, 30 minutes long. They're not super long in length. If you're like me, if you're kind of an auditory and kinetic learner where you like to hear things and then actually feel the mouse click, those videos are brilliant because you can watch the video, you can pause it, you can go into More, you can do the mouse clicks and say, okay, now I see where that is, and then go back and open the video again.
So that page does have a step-by-step too, and it's built the same way. Like, it starts small and then you just build on it from there. I do know we're getting close on the 1:30 here. I don't have a hard stop, but I just want to make sure if there was any questions anybody had, I certainly want to make sure we get those answered.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so if anybody has a question, either raise your hand or throw it in chat, and we can get your question answered here.
And while we wait for you guys to be bold, I just want to throw out there, like, you can find me on the hub, my contacts there. Just reach out to me if you want just a one-on-one or talk to your team or whatever. I'm certainly happy to do that for you guys as well.
I have a question. How many deals do you think you've gotten from this organization and from the cadences? Just
Ooh,
average.
That's a really good question. I would say for the credit repair, the automated cadences, I probably had 4 or 5. The proactive opportunity dashboard, 15. I mean, I've landed referral partners because of how well we follow up and communicate, which I wouldn't be doing that if it weren't for the system. So it's really hard to give an exact number there.
Right.
But yeah,
That's huge. That's huge.
The biggest things that I get complimented on are my communication and my follow-up. And I do those well because of the CRM. So I could argue all of my business is because of the CRM.
That's great.
I love it. Yeah, that's a great question, Debbie. And I mean, so if anybody's looking for an extra 5 to 20 deals, boy, here's a place to jump in and start. Looks like we had a couple of questions that showed up in the chat too. It looks like We have, so Diane was talking about her proactive active opportunity tab doesn't
Yep.
show, doesn't list out her AMR task.
Yeah, so the AMR is a different section. You'll have to go to a different place to do that. But the proactive opportunity is looking at all of the past deals that you've closed. It's looking at their current interest rate, their equity position, who's possible to lower their interest rate, or who possibly has enough equity to remove mortgage insurance, who's a possible FHA to conventional refinance. Maybe we get rid of MI and keep the interest rate the same. That's what the proactive opportunity dashboard is for.
Awesome. Yeah,
How do you just start talking like when you call your proactive? Because I call my birthdays and I got 2 refis off of that in the past 2-3 weeks. I call everybody and tell them happy birthday. But
That's
with
great.
those folks, how do you just start having that conversation? Hey,
So
dude,
it's helpful. And one of the cadences that I have is a post-closing cadence. So we call them 7 days after closing, 60 days after closing, 6 months, and then we do our AMRs. So it's much easier to make that phone call when I've been following up with them. I'm not calling them randomly out of the blue. But I do it in a very informal way. It's, hey, I was just looking at your file here. I see there might be an opportunity to save you some money. Do you want to talk about it? And of course, they're going to say yes. And then sometimes it's, yeah, let's do it. Other times it's, it doesn't really make sense yet. You know what? Let me look at this interest rate for you. I'm going to keep you updated on this. Let's pick a target interest rate. When rates get to 6%, do you want me to let you know? Yeah, that would be great. What I've done is set up those future refinances so that I'm not worried about losing that to my competition. I'm staying in front of them to keep that rapport with them. And then more, once I set that target rate to 6%, it's going to flag it and say, hey, this client's ready, call them. And now I've delivered on everything I said I was going to do. So that's really what it's about. It's not about what I say in that call. It's about consistently staying in front of them. So it's just 2 friends talking. Like, I'm their advisor at that point. I'm not trying to sell them on anything.
okay.
Great question, Deanna. Thanks for asking.
One more. Like I'm calling on my 7-day and 30-day post close today, and you said that's helping you stay in front of people.
Mhm.
Coaching teaches us to call, of course, more often. Are you calling in between your AMRs? Like,
I am not. And this is where more can be built out differently for different people, right? So I have my cadence built out to do those specific steps in that order on that timeline. You could build out a different cadence with more calls in between if you wanted to. So you can build it to be whatever you want it to be. Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think to each their own on this, right? Like, some people like emails better. Some people like text better. It just, everybody's different. Which is also a pro and a con of more, right? That's why it can't be like an open box cloud magic like the iPhone. Like, you have to figure out what you want the system to do in order for the system to actually do it.
Yeah.
Relationship with technology. So
Don't be intimidated by the technology. It's really not that hard. You're not like coding it to do anything. All you have to do is know how to go find where the cadences are and just like click on it. Like, that's all you have to do. It's not rocket science. It's really not.
And there are some pre-built cadences that you can look
Yeah.
at too, where stuff's already done. You can say, yep, I'm going to use this one. You can open it up and look at it and see what's in there. So that opportunity exists too.
Who asked that question? Was it Deanna?
yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, just email me after this and we'll do like a one-on-one, and I'll just kind of show you where to go to find certain things. And you'll see it's really not that complicated.
Okay.
But don't
Thank you
let
for
that
that.
stop you from jumping in. Like, if you don't want to build out elaborate cadences, you can hire somebody to do that for you. But not using them, that's really on you. I don't know how else to say it, you know.
The miss. Yeah. When you're ready for it, right? Getting good at
Yeah.
the basics first. And when we advance 2 cadences, it's a huge opportunity to use them when we can. So yeah, sorry, did I cut in front of you, Deanna? Sound like you had something else to say?
I was just gonna say I'm using the credit repair one because that one was kind of already out there. That I found from someone's, but trying to I need to set some stuff up on my own. Definitely for like when I get leads to help keep that follow up going with them.
But that's step 4 for a reason, right? Like if you're not comfortable with the system today, I would not start with the cadences. I would start with the rhythm of the tasks and where to complete the tasks and get comfortable with that, then branch out to the more elaborate stuff.
That I'm good. I
Oh,
task
good.
you all day long.
Perfect. I like it. Now, then the cadences is just going to save you time because you're not creating each task individually. They're created for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can also set it up for some of those automated outreach, right? We were talking about with the credit repair, where it's sending that email on your behalf. So you don't have to type the email or even think about sending it. It just does it.
Yeah.
What about impact lending? Who makes that part of their conversation with buyers, realtors? Like who actually talks about impact lending? Ooh, that silence is not good. Okay. So this is something that I am very passionate about. And I swear, I can't really prove it, but I swear I've won deals because of impact lending and sharing our story. One of the automated emails I have going out to each new lead is they get an email simply about impact lending. This is what we do. This is our schools. This is the whole story. It's another touch point, but I don't spend any of my time doing it and explaining it. And a lot of times people will actually call me to ask me about that email because they think it's really cool. So, I mean, impact lending is the core of who we are. We have got to start sharing that story, like not just because it can bring business to us, but it's amazing things this organization is doing. We are on the boots on the ground to share this story, and we've got to start talking about it. If we don't start talking about it, nobody's going to.
Yeah, I got my impact report came in the mail today or this week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I left it after I checked it out. I left it on the counter and my wife was reading it. And she's like, holy cow, this is incredible. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should have talked more about this, told you what we do. Right. So to that point, I think there's an opportunity to share that message even greater with people around you. Right.
Yeah, order a bunch of them and take them to real estate offices. We did a community dot event last week and we had one set up at every table. I mean, it's a conversation starter and you invite people to be part of that. I mean, that'll help you deepen relationships better than any service level that you can provide. Like you're giving people a greater purpose at that point, and it's just a really cool add-on that nobody else can offer.
Yeah. There's a couple more questions that showed up in the chat. First one was from Kathy Langley. She's a notebook person. When you are out and not at your computer, so when you're away from your desk, what do you do? We're going to talk about the app now.
Or has a phone app. Super easy. You can add the call or add the lead right in there. You can add them to a cadence on there. You can add a task. You can log a call. You can leave notes on here. It's all right here in the More app.
Yeah. So just like you thought, Kathy, it is something techie. There is that opportunity. So if and definitely do the app if you can. If you are hung up on being a notebook person, just as a side thought for what you can do, jot it down and make sure you've got a time block at the end of your day to take anything in your notebook and put it into More. The system fails when you don't have the daily cleanup activity, that end of work routine where you're adding stuff from your notebook into it. You can take notes and put it into More. You just have to be super disciplined and consistent about doing it. Otherwise, you'll run into some challenges about more than one source of truth where your information lies. And that's where things become just a mess.
And Kathy, don't forget, if you do that, which totally fine if you choose to do that, but you are doubling that work because you're writing it down and then you're having to do data entry as well. If you just do data entry, then it's only one step. So
Yeah.
I would encourage you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit on that. I mean, ultimately, it's going to serve you in the long run.
Yeah, a little bit of fun today makes things a lot simpler tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
You bet.
I don't want to add steps, so I'm going to do it, Trey.
Love it. Well, call me, Kathy. Let's jump on a call and we'll talk about the app or whatever. I want to help. So.
And to that point too, coaching's here to come alongside you with stuff like that as well. So definitely reach out to Trey where you can. If you've got some questions you want to jump on with a coach, just email getcoaching@movement.com. We can do a complimentary strategy call, or we can walk through specific issues, or we can talk about what programs look like if you want to go a little deeper into some of the different things that we have out there to offer. But don't be afraid to use that resource as well wherever you need it. I also saw in here too that we had a couple of the questions. Julie had asked, how do you set up the automated impact lending emails? She said the process does seem a little intimidating.
I can do it right now if you want. It's super easy.
Share your screen.
So this is kind of your link. Oh, I got to share my screen first. Hold on. All right. Can you see that?
We can see that. Yep.
Okay. So this is your home page. This is what it's going to open to when you open more. You can see home right there. You click on this little down arrow. Communications and opt-ins. You scroll down. You click that button right there and you're opted in. You're done. That's it. That's all you have to do. A little less intimidating. Then when you get really like fancy with it, I have it set to where this 48-hour task. That means if it tells me to call the client after 48 hours, or if they have completed it or started it, 48 hours, I'll get the task as well. So that way the system's always telling me what the activity on those AMR calls are doing. If you're a video person, you could record a video that gets emailed out with that AMR and you put it in right here and that'll be part of the email too. I don't use that, but I mean, to get started on the AMR activity, the automation, it's just that one click right there.
And Austin had a little PSA for us too. Remember to scroll down and click save as well.
Oh yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yeah,
the
little
thing's
red
covered
button in
up
the
here.
corner. Yeah, but when you do select it that way, it'll make that change, locked it in.
I think it's up top actually.
Oh, is it?
I don't think you have. Oh, there it is down here.
Yeah, it's super obvious to see. Nice and small and hidden in the corner.
That's it.
Cool. Okay, let's tackle a couple other questions really quick. So that's how we automated that.
The automated impact lending emails, that was a little bit trickier. I actually built out an email to go out. And it was just like in the email template section, you can create an email. So that's what we did. And then part of the cadence, that step is to send an automated email and we select that email template. It may sound foreign to you if you haven't seen it done, but once you see it, it's really simple to do. But those are all the things, like you can't just take it out of the box and expect it to do that if you haven't told the system you want it to do that. Some people may not want that email to go out. So it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, for sure. So the other question Rosanna was asking about the name of the app for the iPhone, it's Salesforce.
Salesforce.
Yep. So you go, I know we call it More. More is just our name for Salesforce, but Salesforce is the company that runs it.
So this is what it looks like. And you can see all your leads. You can see all your opportunities, contacts. You can see it all.
Yeah, I love that. See, Trevor said, sometimes I'm in More and get stuck and need to ask a quick question to keep going. Is there a way to get a quick answer or how to move forward if I get stuck? Yeah.
Yes. So let me share my screen again.
Uh-huh.
So right up here, you see this little question mark. You can get help with quick links, anything in here. There's also links to training videos and different things. So you should be able to find it all right there. Or my advice is to get buddies with somebody that does use More and knows about it. Then you've got one or two people you can just call, hey, I'm stuck on this. Can you show me how to do it? It's a quick 4-minute conversation and then you're done.
Yeah.
Your RMCs should be able to assist you with this as well. There's a whole team of More people. You get tight with one of them, they'll help you out with it. Like there's plenty of resources here to get those things done.
Yeah, it looks like Austin dropped in the chat another resource too for some training guidelines that are available in More as well. So there's a link that everybody can click on there for Salesforce training inside of More. And
then I see Rosanna Mejia. Sorry if I just butchered your name, but welcome to Movement. I'm glad you're here. That spreadsheet it does look a little robust and it takes some work to get the right names and emails in the right columns. Do not skip a step there, because one thing we say in underwriting, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you're clunky with that Excel spreadsheet, it's not going to populate well into More. If you take the time to do that piece correctly, then you'll be golden once it all gets uploaded.
Hey, and you got her name right too.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. I know that we went a little long today. Thank you for staying. Sounds like we had some great Q&A and some great time together. This has been recorded. This will be posted up on the hub. So if you want to come back and review some of the things that Trey had talked about, that's there. If you have questions, Trey's already offered, feel free to send him an email. He'd be happy to take some one-off questions with you. And if you need a little deeper dive, please definitely email getcoachingandmovement.com. We are here to come alongside you and help you in every step we can. Hey, thanks, Trey, for spending the time. So much appreciated your energy and your effort and your expertise. And thank you for being willing to share. Everybody in the chat is giving you a little bit of love right now. So thanks for being there. And everybody, we look forward to seeing you on their next upcoming spotlight in a couple of weeks.
Go get them, guys.
See y'all.
Felicia, if you're still on, I can send you that email.
Cool.
Da, da, da.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.